Hi friends, hope you are doing well. I'm Dr. Ganguly. Welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to discuss a very important concept which has become dominant in the social sciences, and this is the concept of intersectionality. So I'm going to explain this concept and I'm going to think about how this concept can be used beyond the social sciences, even in the life sciences and the science domain. Now, social scientists essentially study society, and if we look at the society of any country, we can see that it can be divided into various groups. For example, we can divide the society in terms of gender, in terms of religion, in terms of race. In some countries, we can also consider caste as a variable, and also income and so on. So in these cases, of course, we are going to see that the different people in society, depending on the groups they belong to, have different experiences and have different opportunities. And in many cases, social sciences people believe that there are prevailing structures in the society which make it difficult for certain groups of people to do very well in society, to take advantage of all the resource which they have present in the society. Now, what happens is that this disadvantage which some groups have gets compounded for people who belong to more than one group, and this is essentially the concept of intersectionality, that if we consider all these groups to be sets, then if we get the point of intersection of various sets, then those people are essentially subject to higher levels of discrimination and injustice. Now let us consider some cases here to make this problem more specific. Suppose we are considering a society such as US. In this case, the dominant divisive structures in society are those of gender, those of race, and income. And in case you can consider that if a person is from a certain race which is relatively backward in terms of the US society, gender and income category, then this person is going to have a more difficult experience. So if we take the case of the US, we can consider that a woman who is coming from the black race, also she is from, let us say, lower income family, and also maybe belonging to the LGBT community. Now this person is going to have a tougher time in the US than many different groups. So if we now consider one more example, let us take the situation in India. In that case, what we may consider a woman belonging to lower caste, maybe residing in a state which is very backward, and also being from a low income family, this person's life is also going to be rather difficult. So we can see that the concept of intersectionality is very important if we are trying to reach or help out the segments of the population which require the maximum need. Now, many a time this kind of research can reveal interesting things. For example, one of the revelations in social sciences is that the progress of a family or members of the society depends greatly on the education level of the mothers. Therefore, this is a reason why there is an incentive throughout the world to help out in the high school degree or in the college program of women. So this certainly has an impact on the entire society and the success of the next generation in terms of various factors, not only sociological factors, but also economic and political factors. So you can clearly see that this concept is very useful. It has a lot of potential in terms of generating research problems for you. Now, you can consider this in some areas of life sciences also. For example, if we take the case of a certain variable such as pollution, this may have some impact on, for example, lung cancer. But if we consider even more variables such as the presence of pollution in a certain place, the income level of a certain group of people or a person, the country the person is coming from, the food which they eat, the lifestyle, the presence of maybe nuclear power plants or coal-fired plants nearby, then all these effects are going to combine together and make the health choices of the person more difficult, and this person may be prone to various health problems. So again, this kind of concept comes in, that the presence of more than one variable actually makes the life of a person more difficult. Now, this concept can be extended even to STEM disciplines. For example, if we consider the case of the review process of journals, we may feel that this is a completely fair process, it is an objective process, but if you have been in the review system for a long time, you know that this again is a sociological process. And even if you are in a hard science domain, maybe you are in physics, maybe you are in chemistry, in mathematics, or some engineering field, you clearly know that there is an impact about the acceptance rate depending on which country you are writing your paper from, which college you are writing your paper from, what is the rank of the university, what is your training as far as the English language is concerned, what are the facilities you have in your lab, and so on, which would depend on the per capita income of your country, maybe the kind of resources your country has or your college has, and so on. So again, when there is a combination of various factors such as these, the difficulty of doing research becomes quite high, and also the rejection rates of people who are having some of these problems will become high. Therefore, we can certainly expect that a person who is coming from a developing country, a country which has relatively low income, which has relatively bad penetration of internet and broadband and so on, it's going to be difficult for this person to get his paper into the top journal. So we can see that in many situations, these kind of factors where one of the factors is bad is compounded by the fact that many of the factors are bad. So again, this concept we can think of as coming partly from mathematics. That means there are these various sets in society. These sets include various groups, like I mentioned. They can be income, they can be gender, they can be religion, they can be nationalities, subnationalities, castes, and so on. And what happens is that if we combine many of these variables together, then the difficulty faced by this person becomes very large. So this of course is the concept of intersectionality in social sciences. I think one can even use it in some positive manner. So we could probably think that if several facts are there which are leading to a positive situation for somebody, then if we combine those facts further, it creates a very positive situation for this person. Now the same thing could be probably used in science or in some different field, that if there are certain things or variables which are impacting a certain variable positively, then maybe combining many of these variables will create a very positive impact on something. So for example, if we want to mitigate the condition of climate change, we may think that solar power is good, wind power is good, nuclear power is good, and so on. And if we combine all these factors, we get the much bigger bang for the buck, or we get much more out of the system. So this is actually a pretty old concept. There were some concepts in psychology that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, and essentially intersectionality is telling you the same thing, though it's looking at it from a somewhat negative perspective of many bads are compounding to make a very, very bad situation. But you could also look at it from a positive perspective, that many goods are creating a very, very good situation. And I think this concept can be a source of many ideas in scholarship, science research, and so on. So please give me feedback about what you think about this particular concept, which is the rage in social sciences. And if you are somebody who is in social science or who has seen the lot of political activism which goes on in social science departments and universities, please give your feelings about what do you think is the source of this activism. I'll end this video now, and I will see you in a video sometime soon. See you then.